The misnomer that's out there, is that we can make individuals do things they don't want to do, and that's really not the reality. We can provide an environment, we can provide a structure, we can provide a pathway, we can work with them to make sure that they're informed, we can create students that know what they should be doing. But to say that we can make every student graduate is absolutely wasted. And there's this thought process that's out there, and there's this belief in the college community that it's administrative and that it's academic and faculty members that say, oh, that's not really the case. It's people hungry to graduate, and they'll come back to you. That's what we're seeing. If you look at our overall population, in England, that's where we see a good number of our students. So what do we know about our students? How many of you get chills every time you hear the word millennial student? If I were to ask, what comes up when you hear the word millennial student? What are the first thoughts that come?
iPod generation.
I'm sorry.
The iPod generation.
iPod generation. Nobody uses MySpace. Right? You said MySpace. Nobody uses MySpace. Facebook. What else comes up when we talk about millennials? They're connected. Connected in very odd ways. I was reading a study, and this just was published last year, and I wish I could find it again, and I can't. So I'd like to share it with you. And the study was about four-year college students that are living in dorms. They're full-time residential students. Do you know how many times they connect with their parents during the week? Yeah. It's over 6 times a day that they, in one way, shape, or form, have a connection with their parents. How many of you went away to college? I didn't. How many of you connected with your parents 6 times a day? 6 times a day. 6 times a day. That's one part of it. So they have this network, and they have immediate access to this network. And parents need so much of this, and they're so involved in the decision-making process. Because they were made to feel special. Their parents made these individuals, made these students out to feel that they're unique, to feel that they're different, to feel that their existence was to create to be meaningful in the world, and to become active, good members of society. And because of that, we commonly hear that this generation is sheltered. And by sheltered, we generally mean that they experience debilitating levels of stress and anxiety as opposed to other generations. Because this generation has always had someone there, holding their hand, helping them, working through problems. And this really, in the higher education, I don't know if I'm bouncing something else you say later, but presents a real challenge. I was just telling you, I told Martin before, is that I come from an institution where 80% of our faculty have over 25 years experience. And they are wonderful faculty. I'm very serious. I mean, these are some of the brightest folks I've ever worked with. They all continue to publish, they all continue to write. But do you think many of them have changed their teaching style over the course of the next 25 years? And what happens when you walk through that classroom and the professor has drop-dead due dates on every time? It's really a challenge. And his focus is on transition and helping students become aware of what that transition is like between a two-year institution, between trade school, even and a four-year institution. Confidence. This is the generation that was taught to be very self-confident. The nice part about this working with this generation is that they trust others. They're so self-confident that they can place their trust in others. Whereas the previous generation is not as self-confident and not willing to trust others. So if we create relationships with this generation, we have this great ability for us to really mentor and guide people and make sure that they're moving in the right direction. Convention. They believe in what's told them by authority. there was a statistic that was released about, this generation a few weeks ago, about how they all believe that there's a role in government in controlling daily life activities, daily aspects of life. This is the only generation that felt there was this role as a role of government. So, because they're so conventional, they're also very willing to accept what we put out in marketing materials. They are very receptive to marketing as a filter. Most of our students that are adult learners that are coming back need some sort of flexibility in their degrees. We need to build that into the curriculum. And then I'm going to talk about immigrant students. Why do I separate immigrant students? Anybody have any thoughts? There's the language barriers. Do they exhibit the same behavior as millennial students, even if the age is falling off? No. Do the adult learners exhibit the same behavior? No. Many immigrant students that we work with have a preconceived notion of what higher education is, based in their home country. And one of the great opportunities that we offer individuals in the United States is the opportunity to have access to higher education where other countries still cannot provide that opportunity to the masses. So there's a little bit of a different attitude. There's a little bit of a different take on things. And then we'll get that second one in a second, but obviously 70% of immigrant students hail from non-English speaking countries. They view education as an opportunity for social and economic advancement. They don't see it just in making money. And that is a stereotype that's out there. That's an absolute stereotype that's out there, is that this newly arrived immigrant population or established immigrant population that's coming to school is just there to make money. And that's not really the case, because it's for both social, there's a social and economic status advancement aspect of it. They have a sense of social responsibility resulting from education. There is a desire to share that education. There's that desire to put that education they earn to good use. And newly arrived immigrants differ from established immigrants. That's what gets me to this slide here. A great deal of the research that I do, and I've been doing increasingly more of it lately, is looking at different immigrant populations and comparing them against American-born populations. And my background really is, in terms of my scholarly work, is in marketing. Marketing is my background. And what I find fascinating is that if we look at, I'm just going to use this very small group. I'm going to use a very small group. I'll use, people that categorize themselves as black in the New York metro area. So we'll use that group. If we look at this group is very interesting, because when we market to this group, we market to the black population. We market to, if you want to call it African American, we can call it the African American population. I'm calling it black for what I'm saying in a second. However, within that population, there are three very unique groups. You have your American-born African American blacks, you have West Indians, and you have African immigrants. Which is larger, the native-born African American black population or the immigrant population in the New York metro area? How many of you say, let's be told, how many of you say African Americans? How many of you say immigrant population? Just because you won't say. No, the immigrant population is larger. That foreign-born population is larger than the New York metro area. And there's something that we forget about. First of all, they don't like to be called African American, because for the most part, they're not. And for many of those individuals, they tie very closely to a national identity. No different from many of us in the room that tie ourselves closely to a national identity. And when we look at, for instance, Richmond Hill, South Ozone Park, and Queens, and we look at a concentrated population of Caribbean immigrants that's over 350,000 people,